Yes, sir. It's 7:06. It's O'Connor and Company, and you are right where you want to be on this day after Thanksgiving. It's our Black Friday extravaganza, everything you need to know and more. And at 7:35, we'll talk to Mike Clancy, running for Congress in the 10th District of Virginia. 8:05, Will Hild from Consumers Research. And 8:15, Trevor Maddich on yesterday's Commanders collapse. I'm Larry O'Connor alongside Patrice Onwuka. Happy Thanksgiving to your family there, Patrice.
Yeah, to you too, Larry.
Now, you mentioned a refrigerator full of food that you're sitting on
Yes,
right now.
we do.
And
One.
if you want to kick things up a notch over and above your basic sandwich, well, you're going to want to ask celebrity chef DARRYL Drama Taylor. He's got tons of ideas, I hope, on what to do with your Thanksgiving leftovers. Chef, thanks for joining us. Happy Thanksgiving.
Well, same to you guys. Good to be here.
Well, I also wanted to ask you first, before we get into it, I love Next Level Chef, and you, that's a tough show.
Oh, yeah.
And you had to deal with that, and, I mean, obviously the worst part of dealing with that is you've got, freaking Gordon Ramsay breathing down your neck all the time. What was that experience like for you?
It was an amazing experience. I would do it all over again. But you talk about cooking under pressure. Cooking like being in a pressure cooker, having Gordon and Naisha and my mentor all over my neck in a sense.
Yeah, Richard Blaze, right? You were on Team Blaze.
Right, I was on Team Blaze.
Yeah.
Yeah, what an experience!
Pretty amazing.
My goodness.
And it's so cool actually that chefs who have restaurants and have careers also then dive into these television shows, because it really does, obviously it increases your profile, it puts you out there for people to see you and love you, and it's such a personal relationship, I think, that diners have with their chefs. But you're really taking a risk by doing this, because sometimes you end up looking bad.
Right. I was so concerned about that. That was one of the key elements I was mostly concerned about. I thought, I don't want to look bad, I was so concerned because I've built this catering business in Atlanta. I was like, oh my, that's really something I was very concerned about.
Yeah, I bet.
Well, it's a bet that paid off, Chef Taylor.
It really has, And the one thing I wanted to do is to reach people that were going through various things, illnesses, whether, because I was on Dallas 17 years. So I wanted to reach people that were going through things to not give up. Keep fighting.
I think you're doing that. Now, here, I need your help. I have a fridge full of food. I've got turkey, I've got stuffing, I've got a lot of the traditional fixings. What can I do with these leftovers?
Chef? Did we lose the chef? Oh, man, right when we need to know what to do with our food.
No.
And I was also going to ask him about cooking for Nene Leakes from Real Housewives.
Ooh,
all
yeah,
right, we'll have to get to that in a minute.
See if we can get him back.
Hopefully we'll hook up with the chef and you'll let us know. Okay, give us a minute and we'll get back with Chef Taylor. Have you watched Next Level Chef, by the way? Most people think, Gordon Ramsay, it's Hell's Kitchen. Next Level is very cool.
Different.
Yeah.
Because you're cooking at different. So the idea is that you're stationed at different levels, and then food on a big conveyor drops down from level to level. And at the top level, you have more options.
You've got like the greatest kitchen you've ever seen.
Exactly.
Middle level, obviously,
is the bottom. There's like scrapes, so you just got to pull together.
All right, Chef Drama Taylor's back here, and boy, I was thinking, because I hadn't asked you about Nene Leakes and the Real Housewives of Atlanta, she cut your cord. She'd do that to you, But something else happened there.
I'm sure she didn't do it on purpose.
Yeah, sure. She flips that table like the best. So Patrice was asking, she's got all this turkey and stuff in, and what can she do with it other than a sandwich?
We can take those things into next level,
There you go.
We can creamy turkey orzo soup.
Okay.
We can stuffed turkey bell peppers. Even though your turkey is already cooked, we can dice it up and add all kind of veggies and lots of wonderful herbs and spices, and maybe a little cheese, and bake them off. And instead of using rice, I'm totally on keto. I'm really big on the keto. So we can take cauliflower rice and make an amazing gluten-free, keto-friendly dish. Stuffed bell peppers.
Nice.
And another
Sounds
one
good.
is a turkey salad. turkey tetrazzini with spinach. I could go on and on.
Ooh, turkey tetrazzini. Okay, but you meant, so now here's my concern. You take the turkey and you create in the pasta casserole with the tetrazzini sauce. But if the turkey is already cooked, won't it dry out? Won't it get too tough?
So that's one thing that I was concerned about when I created this recipe. But what you do is add your cream. Take a heavy cream and make somewhat of a roux, but not using a flour to make the roux. I would use just a little Parmesan cheese and your cream cheese, whipped cream cheese, and make an amazing cream cheese mousse in a sense.
Oh, a
and
mousse?
make it like a sauce.
Nice.
Ooh. Okay. Well,
And it'll keep it very moist. Even though your turkey's already cooked, it'll be very moist. And add a drizzle of olive oil to it also. And of course, a little garlic if you're into garlic, fresh garlic.
I hope nobody thought we were giving them any sort of low-cal diet ideas for that.
Well,
first, you take heavy cream and cream cheese.
But the thing is, these are all keto-friendly dishes, and we all overindulge on Thanksgiving Day.
Yeah.
So you need to back off a little bit after Thanksgiving and get ready for Christmas, because you might want to squeeze into a really petite Christmas dress.
I do, actually.
I think he was talking to me, Patrice.
Get your body right. Get ready for it.
All right, well, Chef Taylor, really quickly, barbecue. Do you have a keto-friendly barbecue sauce? Because I love barbecue, but it's a lot of sugar.
Oh, my God. Yes, I do. I created an amazing keto barbecue sauce, low sugar, low carbs, and it's available on Amazon. It's Kickin' Country Keto, KICIKN, no G, Kickin' Country Keto. It has the kick, and it will soon be available in major retail outlets very soon.
Okay, now.
All right. That sounds good, too. All right. And seriously.
I'm from Memphis, Tennessee, so, barbecue is in my genes.
I love that. All right, so now you're going to get all of our Texas listeners ticked off because they think they invented it. And then don't get me started on the Kansas City people.
No. Texas is not it when it comes to barbecue. Hey, but I love Texas barbecue.
All right.
I love Texas barbecue.
So, by the way, what's your nickname, Chef Drama? Why are you Chef Drama? Is there too much drama in your kitchen?
Well, I'm all about the drama. I own a catering service, Epicurean Drama, in Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm known for amazing, over-the-top, dramatic presentations.
Oh, I see.
So,
wow.
I was coined the name Chef Drama, and I bring you major drama.
Well, that makes sense with the connection to Nene Leakes. Like,
exactly.
She's over the top. She brings the drama. She has to hire somebody.
Patrice is kind of a Real Housewives aficionado. Yeah.
And
I do watch
Leakes, but Sheree Whitfield, Phaedra Park.
What?
I mean, I could go on and on and on. So many celebrities that I've worked with. Lisa Nicole Cloud. Very dramatic people, They're just like I am.
All those ladies. Woo.
Yeah. All right, and now you're going to have to come in and cook for O'Connor and Company because we're pretty dramatic around here as well.
Set the date and I am there.
All right.
Okay.
Chef.
Live and in person.
Happy Thanksgiving, Chef. It's great to meet you.
Thank you,
I love chefs because they make us happy. And you're
right. Well, I can certainly make you happy. They can follow me at Daryl Taylor Chef Drama on all platforms, and make sure you tune into season 3. Next Level Chef premieres. Check your local listings to make sure you get the right date.
Look at him.
All right,
just
now.
Sealing the deal. All right,
are you going to be hosting, Chef? Because it sounds like that's why we should be tuning in to see you host.
All righty, you guys be good. It was wonderful speaking with you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, man. Happy Thanksgiving.
Likewise.
I love chefs that are so happy about their food. They bring this. You got to have joy when you're cooking. Remember this conservative politician in Canada, Pierre Polivier? He has a way of dealing with the media. Well, he had another run-in with a reporter who was angry that he talked about the car explosion at the border and referred to it as a terror attack. Now, of course, Patrice, we mentioned this earlier in the show that the media was calling it a terror attack.
They were, yes.
Anybody out there saying that this was a terror attack was saying, well, it's been reported as a terror attack.
Mm-hmm.
So listen to how he deals with a journalist who suggested he should have been more careful with his rhetoric. Listen.
Hi, Paula Loregio with the Canadian Press. Et si vous pouviez répondre dans les deux langues officielles, je l'apprécierais beaucoup. Do you think it was responsible for you to call yesterday's explosion by the checkpoint at the Rainbow Bridge terrorism when no U.S. or Canadian officials said that was or authorities said that was the case, and when the New York governor also said there was no evidence to suggest terrorism activity?
Actually, you're wrong. You're with CP? Okay, so CP, by the way, CP, just for everyone's knowledge, did have to make 3 corrections for falsehoods that they put into a single article. I think that might be unprecedented. I'm actually thinking about checking with the Guinness Book of World Records to see if there's ever been a news agency that has had to issue 3 corrections for patent falsehoods that they admit they had been made in one single article, and now
Let's
you've
jump
made
in
it
here for a quick second. So he literally asked, because like Associated Press, right? Your CP was Canadian Press. So the Canadian Press reporter is asking him, "Do you think you were irresponsible when you said?" And he says, "Wait a minute, your news agency had to make 3 different corrections to the article."
Oh, that's killer. That's
he already
savage.
did his homework before this, but it gets more savage. Here, listen.
Another falsehood in your question. Where you are wrong is that CTV reported that the government of Canada was presuming that the incident was terrorist. So, yeah, that's what I said in my remarks. You're right. It was a media report.
But it's citing media reports and not.
Which is what I said in the House. I said there are media reports.
And you think that's a responsible thing to go on to make that kind of a statement at the time without speaking?
What kind of statement?
Calling something terrorist.
I didn't. I said there were media reports.
That's the distinction we're making?
No, there's no distinction. What I said, and I was right, was that there were media reports of a terror-related event. By your admission, there were media reports of a terror-related event.
Wow.
And that media report, according to CTV, unless you're questioning their integrity now, came from security officials in the Trudeau government.
All right, so this is a master class, and it's, by the way, it's perfect. You heard the reporter arguing with him, wanting to debate him. Says, well, you shouldn't have made that statement. Well, my statement was true. My statement was not there was a terror attack. My statement was that there are media reports based on statements from the government that there was a terrorist attack. So, but this is what the media does. They twist this stuff. And why isn't the media questioning the Canadian government and the Trudeau government as to why they put it out there for the media to amplify?
So this is an example of what a lot of today's journalists have become. They are activists, and their goal is not to get to truth. It's not to get a statement from an elected official on an issue. It's to do these gotchas. She's calling into question his judgment about making a statement in the aftermath of an attack, or a situation. So, and she's battling with him because she's trying to win that argument rather than and make herself the story as, oh, I won this argument, rather than, okay, he's corrected the record and letting it go. So these activists, I don't even call them journalists. They're just activists who have a journalism platform.
Well, and this politician in Canada, Pierre Polivier, he's very good at dealing with this. He doesn't get defensive. He stays on message, and he puts it right back on them.
Yeah, he's not flustered. He's very good.
7:22. A follow-up on a mass shooting event that occurred at the Old National Bank in Louisville, Kentucky earlier this year. It was in April when a 25-year-old white male burst into the bank and killed 5 people. Now, you'll remember, I don't like to say these people's names, and I won't, because they shouldn't get any attention, but you remember that the immediate media reports, well, here's another angry young white man. You probably motivated by right-wing ideology, killing people, and da-da-da-da-da-da. Well, it turns out now, how many months later? 7 months later, we got his manifesto. He wrote a note 6 days before the attack. And it's very clear what motivated him. He's not a right-wing crazy wacko. He's a left-wing crazy wacko. He said, I've decided to make an impact. These people did not deserve to die, but because I was depressed and able to buy a gun, they are gone. Perhaps this is the impact for change. Upper-class white people dying. I certainly would not have been able to do this were it more difficult to get a gun. I know our politicians are solely focused on lining their own pockets, but maybe this will knock some sense into them. If not, good luck. So this was a anti-gun activist who murdered these people to draw attention to gun laws. And he specifically targeted white people because he thought that would make more of an impact.
Yeah, he has an issue with white, rich people. You know, this, unfortunately, we're not going to see this promoted very much. This article is on MSN, but otherwise, you're not seeing this anywhere else because it's easy for the to cling to the narrative that this is about white guys against black people or white guys against people of color in this country, and it being politically motivated by conservative and probably MAGA extremists. And so it's sad, though. I just wonder who in his life, who read this manifesto beforehand, who knew this was going to happen, and are they not feeling some responsibility right now for not speaking up? Because somebody had to have seen this.
Yeah, but
or
again, you're right that
signs.
the media is not paying much attention to this at all. This is from actually a local news outlet that covered it, but you're not seeing much national coverage. And yes, this was a person who specifically targeted white people for being white and was trying to draw attention to his own anti-gun propaganda. And by the way, it didn't work. And when I see a story like this, all I think is that more Americans should be able to arm themselves, utilize their Second Amendment right, and defend themselves against somebody like this.
Against nutcases like this, yes.
If the employees at this bank had been armed, it wouldn't have been 5 people killed. It would have been maybe 1 person killed. But then the employees would have intervened and shot this guy the way he deserved it. Instead, everybody there was sitting ducks. They were victims, and they had to wait for the police to intervene or for him to turn the gun on himself.
That's the America we live in.
Yeah. But again, it was racist left-wing ideology that motivated this mass shooting. Don't forget that. It is 7:30. Coming up, we're going to speak with Mike Clancy running for Congress in Virginia. It's 7:36, and we're chugging along here on this Friday. What day is it? It's Friday. It's Black Friday. It's the day after Thanksgiving. I get a little thrown on these holiday weeks. Coming up later in the program at 8:05, we're going to check. Excuse me. We're going to check in with Will Hild of Consumers Research. Talk about some of the companies you might be buying from today that have gone too woke for your money. Also at 8:15, Trevor Maddich on the Commander's collapse. I'm Larry O'Connor. That's Patrice Onwuka, with lots of tips ready for her Thanksgiving leftovers.
I know, thanks to Chef Taylor.
Chef Drama. Coming up now, we've got Mike Clancy. He has already announced that he's running for the Republican nomination for Congress in the 10th Congressional District. This is the seat that is being vacated by Jennifer Wexton's retirement, and he joins us now. Happy Thanksgiving to you, Mike. Mike Clancy. Once again, we have dropped a call. All right. We'll connect with Mike Clancy in a moment. Since Mike announced that he was running for the Republican nomination, we have heard also from a Democrat who wants that seat, Dan Helmer. Now, Dan Helmer is currently in the Virginia Assembly, the state assembly. And I do love this. He just won re-election, and within, a week after winning re-election to the General Assembly, he now wants his next gig. It's like, you knew you wanted to run for Congress. Why didn't you just run for Congress instead of running for All right. Well, anyway.
Because you want to keep your seat warm and then just plug somebody in while then you jump into a bigger frying pan.
Yeah. Well, he also he wants to do as much damage as possible as a member of the House of Delegates in the General Assembly of Virginia, because he has announced his first bill that he's going to push along with the new Democrat majority, and that is a ban on so-called assault weapons.
There you go.
He wants to make it a Class 1 misdemeanor for anyone to import, sell, manufacture, purchase, possess, transport, or transfer an assault firearm. But, of course, first they will have to define what an assault firearm is, which you can never get these people to do. What is it? Trust me.
Because I don't think they know, honestly.
Yeah. If somebody with a pump-action shotgun shoots you in the face, it's an assault weapon. because that weapon's been used to assault you, okay?
And hurt you really bad.
And
by the
you're
way.
not going to be laying there with your head blown off thinking, oh, well, thank God it wasn't an AR-15.
You're dead. I mean, frankly, if somebody is going to shoot you in the face like that, yeah, I'd be surprised if you're even surviving. So
it's ridiculous. And the vast majority of gun crimes in Northern Virginia are carried out using a handgun. So that's all right. We're grabbing all of his talking points from him. Probably Mike Clancy joins us now. We're talking about the gentleman who has already announced that he wants the Democrat nomination, Dan Helmer, who his first bill down in the General Assembly this next session is going to be a so-called assault weapons ban. You can get into that and how you want to, argue about it. But even beyond the gun issue, this is typical of a Democrat who just says, my first order of business is to infringe on people's rights.
Yeah. Yes. Good morning, Larry.
Good morning, Mike.
Yes.
Good morning.
Yeah. I mean, this law is a non-starter. I mean, these Democrats like Helmer, once again, they're focusing on imposing restrictions on law-abiding citizens when they should focus on really the real problem, which is guns in the hands of criminals. But every time that there's proposed legislation to strengthen the proposed penalties and sentencing against criminals who use a gun to commit a crime, they vote against it. They don't really care about stopping criminals. And just early this year, Helmer and every single state delegate and state senator in that Democrat primary right now, each of them voted against the Republicans' proposed legislation that would have increased the mandatory sentence for a violent criminal who has a second conviction for using a gun in the commission of a violent crime. They've all voted against that law. They voted to protect the criminal. They voted to protect the criminal's gun rights.
Mike, Mike Clancy, you don't pay me for free media advice or politics advice, but let me tell you, the only reason that Helmer's doing this is for a campaign ad against you. He wants to be able to say, Mike Clancy doesn't care about children being killed in mass shootings, but I'm trying to do something by banning assault weapons. You need to go on the offensive and go after him immediately before he even has a chance and make him defensive about the fact that he wants gun-toting violent criminals out on the streets.
Well, that's right. And that's what he proved by voting against the Republican bill just a few months ago. And keep in mind, they also voted against Governor Youngkin's proposed legislation that would have allowed prosecutors to charge fentanyl dealers who have customers that die from an overdose with felony murder. Yet Helmer and the rest of these Democrats voted against that bill. They decided to protect the fentanyl dealers, even though we have this fentanyl crisis in our community, including fentanyl overdoses in our high schools. And they voted to protect the criminal. And then Helmer does it time and time again. He votes for the criminal and against protecting the people.
I mean, that's voting against common sense, frankly. I'd love to shift gears and talk a little bit about another boogeyman that we have to worry about, and hopefully, if you're elected to this seat, replacing Jennifer Wexler, that you would be able to address, which is censorship. Obviously, here we're free speech should be a protected right, but we've seen the federal government colluding with big tech companies to censor most of the time conservative viewpoints or viewpoints that are going against the grain of whatever the administration is in place. And you have a great Substack. I was just perusing it, where you talk about one of these issues you're talking about is censorship. What if you're elected? What could be something that you and your colleagues in Congress would be able to do to combat the federal government and big tech censorship of free speech?
That's a great point, Patrice. This is a critical issue for our democracy. And what Congress has to do, Congress has the power of the purse. Congress has the exclusive power to legislate and to appropriate money. And what Congress needs to immediately do is shut down the appropriations for this whole triumvirate of censorship where you have government entities interacting with social media and universities.
It looks like we lost Mike Clancy again.
Mike?
All right. Well,
he was just getting to some good juicy
I know.
stuff.
We'll have to catch him on the flip side. Lord knows we'll be hearing from Mike Clancy as the campaign goes on. All right. It's 7:44. I've been pointing out these ridiculous interviews that's happening over in London, mostly from the BBC, where they seem to take the Hamas-Palestinian side of the terror attacks of October 7th. But this one comes from Sky News. Now, usually Sky News is a little bit more reasonable compared to the BBC. But wait till you listen. This is an interview with Elan Levy, who is a spokesperson for the Netanyahu government, and they're discussing the terms of this hostage swap. Okay, so the Palestinian Hamas terrorists have been keeping over 200 hostages, innocent people, children, women who have been brutalized this whole time. They're now agreeing to release 50 of them in exchange for 150
That's right, yeah.
jailed terrorists. You know, like a couple of these people, I've seen some of the track records of the people that are about to be, you know, that have been imprisoned in Israel. They're in prison because they broke the law, violent attacks. Some of them tried to stab police officers. So they're all in jail for a reason. And they actually had a day in court. They had a jury of their peers, unlike these hostages. So the comparison, and again, bear in mind, Israelis are releasing 150 of them, and all they're getting back is 50
people
hostages.
I wondered about that ratio, too.
Oh, it's out. So, yeah. But listen to this question from this news anchor on Sky News. It is absolutely outrageous.
I was speaking to a hostage negotiator this morning. He made the comparison between the 50 hostages that Hamas has promised to release, as opposed to the 150 prisoners that are Palestinians that Israel has said that it will release. And he made the comparison between the numbers and the fact that does Israel not think that Palestinian lives are valued as highly as Israeli lives?
What a moral ignoramus. Can you believe what she just said? Oh, so you're getting 50 Israeli hostages and you're trading back 150 Palestinians. So clearly you don't think Palestinian lives are worth the same as Israeli lives. Otherwise you'd be giving 50 prisoners out. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I don't know where she's coming from. what in the world was she smoking or drinking before?
Her name is Kay Burley, and she is a moron, an ignorant, hateful individual. I'm sorry, I don't like to call names, but trust me, if Israel only had to trade 50 prisoners for 50 hostages, they would do it. In fact, they wouldn't trade anyone for the hostages. The hostages should be released without having to release hardened criminals from jail.
Well,
the only reason they're releasing 150 on a 3-to-1 ratio is because the freaking terrorists are demanding it.
Well, and let's not let the terrorists off. They are 100% responsible for this entire situation.
Of course.
They're the ones who took hostages in the first place. So I'm not sure where her anger is, but it is totally misplaced.
I know where it's coming from. Being a bigot. Only a bigot can twist this situation into clearly the Israelis think Palestinian lives aren't worth an Israeli life because they're giving away 3-to-1 in this. Listen to Elan Levy's response, though. It's perfect.
That is an astonishing accusation. If we could release one prisoner for every one hostage, we would obviously do that. We're operating in horrific circumstances. We're not choosing to release these prisoners who have blood on their hands. We are talking about people who have been convicted of stabbing and shooting attacks. Notice the question of proportionality doesn't interest Palestinian supporters when they are able to get more of their prisoners out. But really, it is outrageous to suggest that the fact that we are willing to release prisoners who are convicted of terrorism offenses, more of them than we are getting our own innocent children back, somehow suggests that we don't care about Palestinian lives. Really, that's a disgusting accusation.
It is a 100% disgusting accusation. I want to again say her name is Kay Burley. She works for Sky News, and she is a moral ignoramus. It's 7:53.